Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRNAM for Wednesday, April 12th, 2023. And our top story today, is there a resurgence in DB pension plans? And joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, John Lowell is with October 3 Consulting. John, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Jeff, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I always appreciate, I've worked with a lot of actuaries over my time, and I appreciate the detailed analysis that they put forth. And I think this is going to be a really interesting topic for the audience. And I guess my first question to you, are you and the folks at October 3 seeing a resurgence in the defined benefit plan? Because all we often hear about is the contraction of the defined benefit market, but are more sponsors thinking about DB plans today?
Jeff, that's a great question. And frankly, the way you put it is perfect. There are quite a few plan sponsors these days who are in the mode of thinking about reopening their defined benefit plans. We haven't seen a whole lot yet who have made the commitment saying either I had a plan once and terminated it and I'm going to restart it, or who have frozen their plans and said, I'm going to reopen it. But we do see a whole lot more thinking about it right now, certainly than there have been at any time. I was going to say in the recent past, but probably in the last 30 years, there's been more of a dwindling over that period of time. And now we're starting to see more and more organizations really, truly having an interest in it. I think a lot of that goes back to what their employees need, what their employees are asking for, and the whole concept of workforce management. So we're seeing an awful lot of people now who are really struggling to manage their workforces, not just from the standpoint of attracting and retaining employees, but also from the standpoint of how do I facilitate upward mobility? If I have the same people sticking around forever because they can't afford to retire, well, then how do I take younger people and move them up into those positions? So there's that whole combination of things, that whole dynamic that I think is being, to a large extent, a trigger for that momentum.
Yeah, really good point. And so today there are mostly pensions, maybe some large corporate pensions, maybe some large hospital systems, Taft-Hartley, so there'll be union plans and public pension plans. Where are you seeing the interest lie? I mean, is there a particular segment of the economy that you're seeing they're saying, hey, John, October 3, we want to talk about the DB plan, and you're probably like, oh my, but are there specific segments that you're seeing where there's more interest?
Well, there's certainly, and this has actually been an area where there's been an uptick for the last 25 years or so. In the small businesses and professional service firms, there's been a lot of it. But what we're starting to see the last couple of years are some of the sectors where there were traditionally a fair number of plans. Companies are at least thinking about bringing them back or starting new ones. So we're seeing it, for instance, more and more in the hospital space, where organizations are saying, is this something I need to do? Because again, that's an industry where attracting and retaining employees with those particular skill sets is really of critical importance for them. As designs are getting more modern and we're starting to build retirement plan designs, defined benefit designs for these workforces of the future rather than the workforces of the past, and we're able to do that in ways that are much more manageable from a cost standpoint. So they're affordable, they're sustainable for the employers, and they can keep them going. A lot of companies in those industries are starting to say things like, I want to be an employer of choice. I want to offer something that my competitor down the street or across town is not offering. And I want to get their best employees away while at the same time they can't get mine. So like I say, there's a lot of momentum in that direction. There are a lot of organizations talking about it. And the other thing that we're seeing is the organizations who to this point in time have not frozen or have not terminated are really not showing any inclination to do so. So the plans that are still ongoing seem like they're going to remain ongoing at this point.
John, I mean, you talk about the hospital shortages. I mean, we've talked to many organizations where they can't attract doctors. There aren't enough doctors, there aren't enough specialties, there aren't enough nurses. And by the way, there aren't enough staffers to clean the hospital. And so that creates a lot of problems in general for our healthcare, sector. But what about the financial management of these plans? Because the argument always was these liabilities are on the books. It's difficult to manage. Does the current market, and I mean stock market, the interest rate environment, does that actually favor the defined benefit plan or re-looking at the defined benefit plan as a benefit?
So, Jeff, that's a tough question to answer because everybody's got a different view on the current market, quite frankly. If you know where it's going tomorrow, you're much smarter than I am. But frankly, I don't think it's so much the market as it is in a lot of cases, the new designs. One of the things that happened fairly recently, and there's been a lot of focus on the defined contribution side in this regard, specifically in the 401k space, but in Secure 2.0 that was passed and signed into law in December, there was one very small provision. It was just a single sentence. And what it did is it opened the doorway for corporations, for businesses that really have the goal of attracting and retaining, to put in what we call market return cash balance plans. So it's a type of plan. It is a defined benefit plan technically, but it's a plan where assets and liabilities can move in lockstep. So what happens is an employee's account balance grows with an actual basket of investments. It might be a basket that's related to the assets in the plan that the employer has chosen. The other way is it might be related to some other basket, and then the employer will invest in a similar basket or the same one in order to hedge those liabilities. So rather than where in an LDI concept, you see companies investing in an asset mix to match the liabilities, here to a large extent, we have the liabilities, on the other hand, tracking the assets. In either one of those cases, when you do that, what you see is you see a stability in costs. So the plan costs stay very, very close to the budget. And when they do so, it becomes very much like the defined contribution plans that a lot of these CFOs, for instance, are used to.
John, I need to take a very quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the resurgence of defined benefit plans. I think you're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement
Invesco's latest Show Me the Income study reflects on the evolving retirement industry today as it faces the pressing need to help participants turn their defined contribution plan savings into long-term retirement income. Key findings from the research uncover that nearly 7 in 10 participants fear running out of money in retirement, and only 22% were very confident they could create a retirement income strategy on their own. What can employers do to help? To learn more about the study and request the white paper, visit Invesco.com/retirement income or contact your Invesco DC professional. Cited research is based on Invesco's work with Greenwald Research. Invesco is not affiliated with Greenwald Research. Invesco Advisors, Inc. is an investment advisor that provides investment advisory and does not sell securities. Invesco Distributors, Inc. is the U.S. distributor for Invesco's retail products and private placements. Both are indirect wholly owned subsidiaries of Invesco Limited.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're joined this morning by John Lowell of October 3 Consulting. John, thanks so much for staying with us this morning. Really appreciate you hanging around for segment number 2.
You're very welcome, Jeff. Pleasure to be here.
I like this topic because everything you read about, you hear about is just the diminishing number of defined benefit plans. It's good that these benefits get a fresh look. I want to ask you about something: communication, education. That is a big part in general about benefits. It's a big part of the 401k system, supposed to be. What about communication, education about defined benefit plans and pensions? I don't recall ever being educated in college about this, and everything that I've learned over the last almost 30 years has been experience driven. But what do we need to do in terms of communicating about these types of benefits?
That's a great question, Jeff. And a lot of the challenge with communicating defined benefits is really in the choice of words, at least in my experience. There are some words in communication that really seem to work, and there are other words that really don't seem to work as well. Now, understand, I am not a professional communicator. I'm an actuary, but I do work with communicators, and I've seen benefits communications over time in my nearly 40 years in this business. I've seen benefits communications that really resonate with employees, and I've seen some that don't resonate as well. As an example, if you were to ask employees what it is that they want out of a retirement benefit, one of the things that you will hear very, very frequently, in fact, I think you might say it is a buzzword or buzz phrase these days, is guaranteed lifetime income. Guarantee, it feels really good. Lifetime income, meaning you're not going to outlive your stream of payments that you're getting, sounds really, really good. Now, for a technical person, one of the things you might think is, well, isn't that an annuity? When you test those two words or sets of words against each other, though, if you go to a group of people, and this is particularly true, it seems, among, Gen X and baby boomers, a little bit less so among the younger generations because they don't necessarily have the same connotation attached to it. The word annuity has really, really negative connotations for some of those people. But if you tell people, I'm going to give you guaranteed lifetime income, which, by the way, that's what you get from an annuity, one of them really resonates, the other one doesn't. one of the curious things that I've observed as well, and I've seen some data on this, is that as those millennials and Gen Zs start to age, they have more of a fear of that annuity word. And they like the sound a whole lot better of guaranteed lifetime income. So I think it's the closer and closer that you get to the need for that lifetime income, the more that A word and its ties to the industry that it's coming from seem to have a negative connotation. And the more that that whole feeling of a guarantee and knowing you can't outlive it feels really good.
John, just to follow up on that, I mean, we have talked to many in the retirement industry about the annuity or the lifetime income component on the DC plan. How does that differ from an annuity or from the guaranteed income from a DB plan? Because one, in my mind, unless it's in plan, it's a bolt-on, right? So as you accumulate, then after accumulation, you get to what's called now we're getting nerdy, but decumulation, and that's where this bolt-on comes. But what about the comparison with the DB plan? How are they the same, and how are they different, or are they the same?
Well, they're the same, Jeff, in what they provide. Ultimately, they are both providing a stream of payments beginning at some date and ending at some other prescribed date, which is often either the date that you as the recipient of the annuity or that your beneficiary as a contingent recipient of the annuity dies. So they keep going until that ends. Where they're very different, though, is where the benefit or where that annuity payment is coming from. If it's coming from the plan, then what's happening is it's being paid, and the plan has got a lot of what we might think of as risk pooling. So while a plan might lose money on an annuity payment that it is paying to you, it might make money on an annuity payment that it's paying to me just because you might outlive me. In the case of an insurance company, so if you have a 401k account balance and now you take a distribution at retirement and you buy an individual annuity, well, the annuity provider doesn't want to lose money on your annuity. So they have to be particularly risk averse at that. And not only do they not want to lose money, they happen to be in business to make money. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, we would expect that when somebody goes into business, they expect to make money. So not damning an insurance company for doing this, it's what they do. So with those two things in mind, the cost of an individual annuity is meaningfully more than the cost of the same payment from a defined benefit plan. If we're looking at group annuities, on the other hand, there is an element of risk pooling. And so there, the difference in costs is probably a little bit smaller, but there still is a difference in costs. The insurance company is still very risk averse, and they're in business to make money.
Yeah. Well, John, I mean, obviously this is a continuation of a long-standing conversation. It seems to be one that more and more plan sponsors are going to think about. And look, this is a great conversation. It's one that plan sponsors should have when they're sitting around the table discussing their employee benefits. John, we're going to have to leave it there. Really appreciate you joining us on the program, and we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
Thanks very much, Jeff. Appreciate it.
And that wraps up this episode of BRNAM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the latest curated news and lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more, all in one place. That's right, one place. Check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives, check out our latest content? Well, visit our website. And of course, all of our streaming partners. We're back again tomorrow for another tremendous edition of BRNAM. You're not going to want to miss it. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes. Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the First Lifestyle and Wellness Network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.
Tax audits, tax liens, wage garnishments.
Every day we hear stories like this about good folks who are simply struggling to pay their bills. Each of them are living a frightening IRS tax nightmare, and they are afraid it will destroy their lives.
I'm a divorced single mom, and my ex-husband left me and the kids with a lot of unpaid bills, including unpaid taxes. I was really starting to show my stress on my kids because the IRS had sent me a letter demanding a huge payment from me. I couldn't afford it. So then the IRS was threatening to garnish my wages. I'm already living paycheck to paycheck. That would have put me over the edge financially.
It truly seemed hopeless, but then a friend at work told her to call the tax relief line.
The people at the tax relief line, they told me about something called innocent spouse relief. They worked it out so that all of the taxes from my ex are not my problem. I don't know how that works, and I don't care. All I care about is that I don't owe the IRS a dime, and they are not going to take my paycheck.
Even if it seems hopeless, you should call the number on your screen right now. There is absolutely no cost for the call or the consultation. You are under no obligation. If you are worried that the IRS could garnish your wages, seize your assets, even take your home, call us right now. The Tax Relief Line is here to help you. Now you have a knowledgeable, professional team of tax experts that are ready to negotiate with the IRS and fight for you to save you money. The Tax Relief Line's professionals have successfully negotiated thousands of cases, reducing and sometimes even eliminating the tax debt for their clients. It's very easy to get started. Simply call the number on your screen right now. You don't have to live in fear anymore. The call and the consultation are free.